Okay, so welcome to this new video where we'll continue talking about the upcoming match between Magnus Carlsen and Fabiano Caruana, the World Championship match. And, well, I've done 3 videos already on this subject. You know my opinion. It is pretty close to 50-50. Magnus, he is the best in the world, but if someone can beat Magnus in a match, I think it is Fabiano. He deserves the chance to challenge him because I think he has basically no weaknesses. His opening preparation is great, and of course he's very precise in middle game and end games as well. So you can see the first 3 videos we did already, and today we'll see a game which was played recently in the US Championship between Caruana and Fabiano. Fabiano was playing white, so let's see how Fabiano is playing before a couple of months before the match. So e4, e6, we have French, d4, d5. Here white plays the main line, knight to c3. We know knight to d2 is the other main line for white, the Tarrasch variation. The advance with e5 is also possible, and taking on d5, this change variation, it is possible too, but the problem is it leads to equal positions right from move 3. So white plays this. Here the Beinauer is bishop b4. Black plays knight to f6, and this is a line I play myself. I remember long time ago playing blitz on ICC against Carlsen. I was playing this knight f6 as black. This was like 10 years ago, probably, and by that time he was crushing my soul in blitz games already. So knight f d7, f4, the main line c5. If you see this line, if you look for games, you'll find that Magnus played this as black too, and he beat both Ivanchuk and Karyakin. So knight to f3. Black plays bishop to e7. This is one of the main lines. Knight c6 followed by a6 and b5 is playable as well. Bishop e7, bishop e3. Knight c6 and queen d2. So far, white has made logical moves, and now we have to decide whether to castle kingside or queenside. And from my experience as black, I can tell white like 90% of the time he castles kingside, because if he castles queenside, he'll have to face a queenside attack, and that attack is a6, b5. It's quick. Black can develop a queenside attack real quick by advancing his pawns. So okay, queen d2. Here black plays b6, and this move, in order to understand b6, we have to see the main line. I mean, castling is possible. Here white, for instance, he plays a3 or bishop e2. I like this move because we are not showing our cards yet. We can castle both ways. And the idea of b6 is, we'll understand if we look at f6. What happens if black plays f6? He's trying to destroy our center, but we take on f6, and the problem here is no matter how he retakes, the c5 pawn is weak. If he takes with the bishop, then I can take on c5, if he takes with the knight, well, c5 is hanging as well. Well, taking with the pawn is super risky, the king is way too open. I can even play a move like f5, or I can simply castle, and, well, sooner or later I'll exploit his kingside weaknesses. And, well, maybe taking with the rook. But this is not great looking. e6 happens to be weak. The e5 square might be a possibility. And he has no reaction in the center. e5 is not possible. d5 is hanging. And the rook on f6. Well, we know the rook is not doing much there. So if black plays b6 first, now c5 is protected, and that means f6 might be a possibility later. For instance, I'll play just whatever, a move like h3, which is nonsense. I'll just play two weak moves, two very weak moves from white, but you'll understand now f6 is possible because of this move. If I take, then this is possible. Well, in fact, here black has a nice center, and we cannot deal with his pawn advance. He can even take with the bishop, and yeah, in both variations c5 is well protected. So that is why a black plays b6. At first glance, it is tough to understand this move, because if you're a French player, you probably know that you play b6 when you have the knight on b8. If you have the knight on b8, you can play b6 followed by bishop a6, and then you trade bishops off. But here, you already have the knight on c6, so this b6 move looks pointless. But if you know the f6 idea, then it's easier to understand the whole variation. So okay, white plays bishop b5, winning a tempo, attacking the knight on c6, queen c7, and the first brave decision by white in this game. As I was saying, most of the time white castles kingside because it is safer and because we don't have to deal with the queenside attack. But here Fabiano plays this move, and I'm pretty sure he knows what he's doing, and what I'm saying is I'm sure this is home preparation, and if it's not, then we'll see this is a great understanding from white. When we castle queenside, he's going to play a6, and we are more or less forced to take in the knight on c6. If we go back, then bishop b5 was pointless, and we offer black the chance to advance pretty fast on the queenside, and this might be dangerous. I mean, after bishop e2, apart from c4, I can play this first, and this looks scary. So this does win a tempo, but on the other hand, we lose the bishop pair. If that position somehow gets open, then this is going to favor black. But we have the initiative, his king is still in the center, and that position for the time being is still closed. That means his bishops, especially bishop c8, cannot enter the game yet. So white plays this move. I like this. We don't have to play a move like this if we can play f5 immediately, and black decides to close that position with c4. Well, the question is, can he take on f5? Well, I don't think he's losing yet, but we take and we get a powerful knight on d5, And the problem for black is it is tough for him to castle. I mean, we already have tricks on e7, and he's down development-wise. This plays itself, no defenders on the king side, I can even try something like this, and he's in terrible shape. So, despite having the bishop pair, black doesn't want to open that position, and he plays c4. Well, if we give black some extra moves, he's going to play b5, b4, even a5 if required, and that is dangerous. He can even try hiding his king on the queen side. So here, a positional sacrifice, f6. Maybe that computer doesn't like f6, but in practice this move is great, and we know the initiative is much more important than material, so we make sure we open that position, and we open lines to reach this target, which is his king. So f6, he has to take, I take, now he takes with the bishop. Well, if he takes with the knight, I think this is great news for us. Knight e5, then we put pressure on the f-file. His attack doesn't even exist, and in the meantime we have serious threats like bishop g5 or bishop h6, bishop g7. So yeah, in practice I would tell white is already winning because the pressure is too much, and yeah, he has no development. A pawn doesn't mean much when you don't have development. So it makes sense for black to take with the bishop. Bishop takes, and now another quiet move by white. Well, not that quiet. We put the rook on the f-file, but considering we are down a pawn, we can probably think about other moves like bishop here, trying to enter his position as soon as possible. I guess he does not want to lose this powerful bishop, which is the bishop that controls dark squares, so he's going to play this. Well, we have a drawish line here, but of course, as white, I don't want to repeat. I can play rook h, f1, and continue the pressure. So white plays this move. First, b5, and another great move by white. Queen to f2. I mean, when we see these last two moves, they look easy to play, easy to analyze, but in a real game it's not that simple. I mean, as white we are down a pawn, and he's playing b5, b4. He's playing it. I mean, there's no way we can stop it. And if we play a3, he plays a5. So this b5, b4 is happening, and it's tough to remain calm when you see your king under attack. So that is why these last two moves, after sacrificing a pawn, I consider this maneuver a tough one, and that shows that Fabiano, apart from having an excellent opening preparation, his middle game play is probably one of his best tools he has at the moment. This is like next level. Honestly, if I were white, maybe if I think a lot, I would play the same, but without thinking much, I would play this move, which is okay, but I would look for some action right now. I wouldn't consider playing two preparation moves like rook f1 and queen f2. So there you see a huge difference. Okay, rook h, f1, b5, queen f2. The thing is, here we do allow b4 But the problem is, black is defendless on the f file. Soon we'll fire a move like knight to e5, and he's going to be defendless. We allow b4, we play knight to e2, and now he plays b3. Well, it's easy to panic here as white because our castle is being destroyed, but it's not that serious. After all, he's just attacking with pawns and his queen. He doesn't have enough pieces to have a successful attack. So we play knight to e5. Now the problem is, if he moves the queen, we take on d7, and then the bishop is hanging. If he plays this, we play the in-between move, and then he's losing. If this, I take on f7, and then I check on g5. So the only move he has is taking the knight on e5. We also attack the queen on c6, so he doesn't have many options. He takes. We of course take on f7 with check first, king d8, and now we take on e5. Here, well, that position has changed a bit, but we can tell our king is safe, and we know that because he doesn't have the dark squares bishop, we do, and we can simply place the king on d2, and we have ways of blockading on dark squares. Also, when we have opposite color bishops, like this position, we know the rule. If we have opposite color bishops and we are attacking, that is favoring us. On the other hand, if you have an equal position, then opposite color bishops, they are like... that means it's close to equal or, you know, drawish endgame, but here we are far away from the endgame. We have heavy pieces on board, so having opposite color bishops is great. There is not much black can do to fight against our bishop e3. So, okay, here d takes e5, he takes on a2. Well, if he takes the e5 pawn, this is mate in 1, but worst case scenario, we also take all his pieces with queen f6. So he takes on a2. Now, king d2 is like the only move out there. Maybe we can check on g5, but we are not achieving much. In fact, we are helping him bring the king to a safe area, so king d2. And now, believe it or not, black is in terrible shape because he has no development, his bishop is bad, and he has no queenside attack. That was his real counterplay. And talking about moves, our next move is going to be knight to d4. He cannot move the knight because then we play bishop c5 mate. The knight on d7 has to stay there to allow king c7. So with basically no moves and knight d4 coming, black played rook f8. Here I would love to consider sacrificing my queen, but the truth is there's no need. Let's not forget he's got a pawn on a2 close to promoting, so we don't have to get crazy here. We can take on h7, takes, and again, knight d4 is coming next. There's not much black can do. I mean, first move I imagine is something like queen a4, trying to promote, but we can even afford allowing a1 queen. Knight to d4, the threats are too much. If he moves the knight, I mate him with bishop here, even rook f8 would be mate. So knight d4, let's say he promotes. I don't even have to take the queen, I can play this and then I mate him next. So not much counterplay black can create on this line. In practice, in this position, black plays what I think is the best try. He plays d4. He wants to open that position a bit. And yes, this is losing, but it is good to create chances for white to make a mistake. And d4, at least it opens my king's position, so I like the try. And here we have to be precise as white. If we take on d4 with the knight, well, he's got queen takes, and it is a check. We have to be extremely careful. If this, he can even play something like queen d5, and it's not clear how to mate him. He's promoting next, by the way, and his king is also escaping. So, after d4, well, we can consider taking maybe with the bishop, and then queen takes pawn is not a check, but we also have in-between moves. We know when we talk about tactics, in-between moves are those moves making a huge difference, and this check, well, he has to move the king to c7, and now we simply take on d4. Super easy. Small detail, but relevant. We defend on g2, and now, well, this talks for itself. He plays queen d5, and white simply takes on e6. We couldn't mate him, but we basically take most of his pawns, and the resulting endgame should be winning for us. For instance, if he takes this, suppose he plays king b7, I play rook a1, and I have, okay, knight takes, just in case I play knight c5 first, and then rook takes a2, I have 2 extra pawns, so with right play and with right technique, white should convert his advantage. But okay, after queen takes e6, black plays queen a5 check. Well, this makes a lot of sense. Trading queens is not helping, and here at least he has the chance of promoting. So we play c3. See how our king is well protected on dark squares. Black's bishop e7 is missing since a long time ago. So after c3, black takes on e5. Well, the question is, the first variation we have to see is this one, of course. We take, queen takes. Now the question is whether we have mate or not. Well, we are lucky that at least we have repetitions. It's tough to believe black can escape with these passive pieces. If this, well, the mate is not so simple. Queen c6, king b8. We don't have a mate yet, but we can play queen d5. Now if he moves to b6 or a7, we check him. And if this, now this is getting easier, and suddenly we mate him. So at this point it's easy to find a mate because he's got only moves. Maybe king d8 is another try, but then knight c6, king e8, queen e7, and he's also toasted. So after c3, black, who's a strong grandmaster by the way, doesn't play a1 queen because it's too easy, but instead he plays knight takes e5. And now let's see how to continue. The knight is protected, our queen is under attack. It looks like the f7 square, the f7 square is under control as well. So if we want to win as white, we have to be precise. I forgot to say a1 queen remains a possibility. So what I propose now is let's pause the video, try finding the winning continuation for white, and considering his king is way too open, we are looking for a tactical variation. Let's be precise, take as much as you need, and then come back to the video. As usual, I'll make a 10-15 seconds pause, and then I'll continue talking. Okay, so in this position, after knight takes e5, we have to consider checks. I mean, we have to act quick before he promotes, before he gets his pieces out. So queen e7 check is the first move we consider. Unfortunately for us, he plays bishop d7 and suddenly his pieces are entering the game. We are running out of checks. I mean, if bishop f4, rook to e8, if we take on e5, the queen is still there. Maybe we can play an endgame. I mean, that's not bad for us. I guess this endgame is much better for us, but the a2 pawn is still alive. I don't know. It looks like white is clearly better, but it's not a clean win, so maybe we have more than this. Also queen e7 check, bishop d7, knight to e6 looks tempting, but after king c6, believe it or not, we don't have many checks. Maybe we can repeat with knight d4, and now apart from this he's got this extra possibility of king b7, and this is getting worse and worse for us. So, considering he doesn't have any development, we also have to consider rook f7 check. I mean, bishop c8 happens to be a good defender at this point, or knight e5 as well. Knight e5 is controlling key squares, so I don't mind getting rid of his knight. So here he has to take on f7, king b8, well, this is super easy, queen d6. If he covers the check with bishop d7, well, here we have two ways of winning this. Bishop f4, or we can even play the straightforward rook takes and bishop f4. He doesn't have pieces, king c8, queen e8. And if king d8, well, knight c6, this should be enough. We don't have to take the queen, we can play queen e8 and queen takes c7, that's even faster. So, after rook f7, he has to take. We play, after knight takes, should we play queen takes f7? Should we play something else? The entire variation that starts with rook f7 is tough to see beforehand. And here we see a very precise calculation by Caruana. I mean, after knight takes, yes, we can consider queen takes f7, even queen takes c4 is possible. Queen c6, he just plays king d8, and we don't have mate. So this, well, he plays bishop d7, we can check on f4, he plays king c8, and believe it or not, we don't have a mate. He's promoting next, we don't have a rook. It is getting complicated. So let's see how Fabiano played this. Knight takes f7, the in-between move, bishop f4, is the winning move. And now, no matter what he plays, he's in trouble. Well, if knight d6 or knight e5, we can simply take. If this is mate in 1, that is why we didn't take on f7. We need the queen guarding those key squares. Well, if he plays king b7, this is what happened in the game. Queen takes f7, and now black can avoid the mate. If king here, queen c7, and if bishop d7, we take, and queen c7 is coming next. So pretty tough winning variation here with rook f7 plus bishop f4. Very tough to see, even at the highest levels. It is easy to make a mistake here. Black has nothing to lose in this position. I mean, white is the one who has to be precise in order to win in this position. Maybe if he plays something else, we get an endgame. We have a couple of extra pawns, but it's not clear whether we are winning or not. I think black has some chances, but after this, knight takes, and now bishop f4, there's nothing black can do. The queen happens to be everywhere, and he is defenseless. So that is why, yeah, taking on f7 wasn't good. So a great game by Caruana. This was played a couple of days ago. I don't know when this video is going to be published, but this is a fresh game. So we see Caruana is playing great chess. Today, by the day I'm doing this video, Carlsen beat Giri also with a very nice game, and we are going to cover this game in next video. So yeah, before this World Championship match, they are both playing at the moment, and they are both showing his best chess. So I can't wait to see what's happening in the World Championship match. That's all for this video. I hope you found this useful. I hope you could learn something, and of course I want to see you guys during my next chapters. Thank you.